one. Mhm. There you are. Fantastic. So thank you very much. All right. So let's start with the class then. So dear Paulina and Lucia, thank you for having joined me. And as I told you yesterday, the plan for today's class is simply to continue with our practices for the first task of the speaking section. And we're going to practice together following the same method that we also used yesterday. So let me close this. It's not necessary. Also here and here is not necessary. Okay, there we are. So let us start. And very good. Good for you that you're just two students right now, because of course you're going to have the chance to practice more exercises and to receive more personalized feedback. Okay, so let's go. There you are. Okay, so I want to listen to your opinion for this statement. I think it's very profound, especially if you have never thought about this. But anyways, as I told you, any type of statement could be appearing on the exam. Sometimes they're super trivial, as the one that appeared to me last time when I took the exam. It was super trivial. Like, as I say, sometimes the statements are super trivial. Nonetheless, sometimes they're very much, let's say, demanding because they are very insightful and you're going to have to think about it, right? Anyways, you have to be prepared for both possibilities, all right? So let's go with this one. Investing in a house is much better than investing in the stock market. In your opinion, is this a good idea? Why or why not? Provide supporting details in your response. So please start preparing your responses, dear students, now. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Paulina, please could you be the first one in today's first round as well? It would be a pleasure to listen to you. So please enable your microphone and start delivering your response for this question now.
With regard to the topic, I agree that investing in a house is much better than investing in the stock market, because it is more comfortable to live, and also you can do a lot of things inside in your own house. For example, when in my future I want to buy my own house, and to have a I want to have a I don't know, negocio. I forget the word.
Business.
Business. Yes. Sorry.
Yes. That's okay. Thank you very much, Paulina. Don't worry, it's the first one. It's always difficult. There we are. Lucia, please could you continue with the exercise? Start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that investing in a house is much better than investing in the stock market. I believe that way because of the following reasons. First of all, investing in the stock market, it can fluctuate in the price, so the price can change, and you can have like negative price in the long term. And first of all, and second of all, you can have that as a second income. Maybe if you buy a house, probably in the future you can rent it, and you will have like your salary and also a new income.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Lucia. All right. Okay, so let's go with some feedback for both of you then. Right, so let's start with Lucia. So Lucia, I think that the arguments you presented were fantastic, right? You said, first of all, it is a little bit unstable to invest money on the stock market because sometimes the value is very positive and suddenly it goes down. Fantastic. That is true, actually. So now, what else? In this case, what lacked to me a little bit would be a personal illustration, right? Something like, and here you can, of course, play with it, right? You can invent and say, last week I decided to invest on Amazon, And because of some reasons, Amazon decreased its value 90%, right? Something like that. And you are demonstrating that certainly, although it is a good business sometimes and a good investment, it goes down suddenly without any prior, let's say, warming. Okay, so as I say, maybe that would be lacking as well for the second illustration when you said, right, you can also rent the house later. You could have said that is exactly what my parents did. They bought a secondary house and they have been receiving money because of the rent and because of some people living there as retailers and also as yeah, basically as retailers. So as I say, but fantastic arguments, okay, very clever ones. Continue with that ingenuity. Now, Paulina, so I think that also here your response was actually very good. So when you mentioned, for example, the first argument, I actually thought when I listened to it, this could have easily been this could have very easily been two different arguments. For example, because you say it is comfortable to acquire a house, and also you can do a lot of things within it, right? And that was something that you included or you formulated at least as a whole. That is to say, you formulated these two different things as one argument. And I actually thought when I listened to it, okay, it would have been interesting if she, instead of using these two different arguments as one argument, she divided it into two different arguments and she gave different illustrations for both of them. For example, instead of saying it is comfortable and it allows you to do a lot of things, you could have said at the beginning, first of all, because it is more comfortable to buy a house. As an example, my parents bought a house that has two different floors, and now I can live there without having to worry about the hot weather when it is summer, something like that. And secondly, I would like to, or I prefer to purchase a house because it allows me to do different things. In the future, I would like to acquire a personal house and to have the opportunity to play with my pets in my garden. That's it, right? As you can see, you could have mentioned these two arguments with two different illustrations, and it will have made your response not only more solid, but also more diverse, right? So as I say, it's a matter of thinking and dividing those arguments a little bit more, but very good anyways. Let's continue. Okay, we saw this one before. Okay, this is a very interesting question. Let's see what you think about it. Here you have it. It says, children and teenagers should be limited to only 2 hours of screen time daily from devices such as smartphones, iPads, and gaming systems like Xbox. Do you think that this is a good idea? Give reasons and details to support the argument. Fantastic. So let's see what you think about this one. Okay. So please start delivering your response, or not delivering, designing and developing your response now. All right, there you are. Dear Alexander, thank you very much for having joined the class. We are practicing right now with Paulina and Lucia on the statements for the first task of the speaking section. We're going to start from the next one, okay? Let's see. All right, thank you very much, dear Alexander. And Paulina, oh, in this case, Lucia. Lucia, you're going to start with this round, okay? So please, dear Lucia, turn on your microphone and start responding the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that children and teenagers should be limited to only 2 hours because of the following reasons. First of all, it can be an unhealthy distraction. For example, my cousin spent too much time on the internet playing games, and he wasn't able to do his homework. And second of all, also a study has said that long-term playing video games can damage your eyes. So I think it's real important not to spend more time. For example, also my cousin has to use glasses since a really early age.
Fantastic, perfect response. Thank you very much, Lucia. Paulina, please continue with the exercise and start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that because concentrate with your studies. For example, now can I start again, please?
Yes, yes, of course. Don't worry. Okay, dear Paulina, so let's go and start now.
Okay, with regard to the topic, I agree with that because of the following reasons. The first reason is you can have a more concentration in your studies, and also you can focus more and be more active. For example, my sister the last year had bad grades because she was in the cell phone all the time, and with that, as a result, she has bad grades. Another reason is you can practice another sports that help you to be more active in different ways. For example, when I was a child, I preferred to practice another sports than the cell phone.
Fantastic. Perfect. Thank you very much, Paulina. Very good. Very, very good. There you are. So very glad because of these two responses. I think that they were fantastic. Okay. Paulina and Lucia, I love how both of you managed to offer your opinion for this topic super concisely. Both of you didn't spend more than 5 seconds saying your opinion, and that is absolutely incredible because, as I say, the introduction, the arguments should be the parts receiving the less attention and time of your persons because they are not actually that important. The most important parts, the illustrations, right? And you in this case offer very personal and very specific illustrations, right? In this case, for example, Lucia mentioned her cousin, and she talked about how her cousin, for example, in this case, had a terrible performance on his studies because he was playing video games. And she also used him as an example for people who are damaging their eyes through the computer and through an excessive use of smartphones or in digital media. Fantastic. And also, for example, in this case, Lucia, Paulina mentioned, for example, how she also had her sister, if I'm not wrong, who also had this particular situation, having bad grades. And she also gave a very good argument, the second one, that when you are, let's say, thinking about this decision, you could actually prefer to play some sport instead of spending so much time on the computer. Fantastic. And she also talked about herself, right? When she was a child, and she, in this case, preferred to play on a sport, right? It would have been fantastic if you said what a sport you practice. For example, when I was a child, I preferred to play volleyball or basketball instead of playing video games with my brother or something like that. But incredible. Fantastic. Okay, responses, very good to both of you. All right. Let's see. All right, and Alexander is going to participate of this one as well. Okay, so please, dear Alexander, this is for you as well. Okay, this is very interesting. It says all young men and young women should be required to complete 2 years of military service for their countries. In your opinion, is this a good idea? Why or why not? Let's see what you think about this particular topic. Here you have it. It says again, all young men and women should be required to complete 2 years of military service. What do you think? Let's see what your opinion is for this topic. Right. Okay, so please, dear students, start preparing your responses now. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, students. All right, so who's gonna start this one? Paulina, please could you start this round? Please start delivering your response, dear Paulina, now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that because for the following reasons. Because the first reason is you can get more opportunities for searching a work. For example, my cousin had he participated in the military, and he wants to search another word, and it was more easy for him. And also you can have more experiences in different sports. For example, you can practice football, soccer, or also you can get your time management in different kind of sports.
Okay, there you are. Thank you very much, dear Paulina. Let's continue with Lucia. Okay, please, Lucia, start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that all young men and women shouldn't be required to complete 2 years of military service. I believe this way because of the following reasons. First of all, people are free to make their own decisions and can't be forced. So, yeah. And second of all, and since now we have more peace agreements, it's unlikely to happen one. So I think that men and women shouldn't be required to complete 2 years of military service.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Lucia. Very good. All right, fantastic. So let me give you some feedback then. Okay, fantastic. So, Paulina, I think that the first argument you gave about men and women receiving more opportunities to receive awards, right, in the future, or some prizes whenever they participate in the military service was quite clever, interesting, very good argument. And also illustration, right? You talked about your cousin who participated in the military affairs and he got the opportunity to know a lot of things, right? Fantastic. And the second argument as well was very interesting because you said it allows young men and women to participate in different sports. Very good. Now, in this case, for example, when you were exemplifying that argument, you started to say, right, they can practice sports like football, like basketball, like volleyball, etc., etc. Now, when you think about that, although the illustration is very specific, it is not personal somehow. So maybe here I could give you let's say a recommendation. Instead of starting to name the possible sports people could have done, you could have also used the example of your cousin and say something like, my cousin, for example, became very much skillful at volleyball, basketball, and I don't know, and soccer. As you can see, whenever you relate something to a person, then is when it becomes personal. So as I say, maybe that could have been a manner to make it even more personal. But anyways, it was a fantastic response. Okay, very good, dear Paulina. It was a very, very good response. And Lucia, in this case as well, I think it was a very good response too. And because you gave fantastic arguments, right? Certainly, people are free; they should take their own decisions. And when you actually you make a pause at that time, right? Because you were thinking, what argument could I give, and you didn't find one. Excuse me, what illustration could I give, and you didn't find one. Well, you could have simply said something like, I wouldn't like to be drinking my tea and to have a military officer saying that I have to go to war or something like that, right? And the same for the second argument, right? For me, what liking this response, of course, was the arguments. Something like, I don't know, when you said, right, that, I don't know, that people should be, that it's not likely that wars are going to be happening anymore because of different peace treatments and treatises with other nations. You could have said something like, well, recently in my country, there has been an agreement with my neighbors that we are never going to intervene in each other's affairs. Fantastic, right? But anyways, very, very good response, dear Lucia. Very good arguments as well. Okay, so Alexander also got into one more time. Dear Alexander, did you have opportunity to prepare your response? Would you like to share it with us?
Yes, teacher. I changed my phone with my laptop.
Okay, fantastic. So please, dear Alexander, then start sharing your response with us now.
With regard to the topic, I disagree with that because I think it shouldn't be an obligation because in this country, there are a lot of people who can do this kind of exercise. For example, in my case, I have a back problem and makes it's very difficult to do this exercise, these activities. And in that case, they had to give me like a white military certificate. I think it's that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, dear Alexander. Very good response. Thank you very much. All right, so you would be the only one that has not received the feedback. So I like the response. I think that the argument is certainly very compelling because you said, right, this shouldn't be obligatory because there are some people that physically are unable to perform on the activities that the military service requires. Fantastic, that is clever. And also the illustration you offer, fantastic. You said, right, in my personal experience, I had some physical problems and therefore I'm not able to participate. Maybe what didn't allow you to offer the second argument and the second illustration was the, let's say, the extra information you added to the illustration, because you started to comment, for example, on the fact that you said you received something like a Y certificate, something like a different certificate or certification that you participated, but not in the same manner. And that when you think about it, was not actually necessary, because the argument was that people shouldn't be participating because some people have some physical disadvantages, right? So it was sufficient with the first part of the illustration. So as I say, anyways, it was very good, and this is a matter of practicing more and knowing until what point you should continue with the illustration and at what point you should actually refrain yourself from speaking more and moving directly to the second argument. But fantastic, very good, Alexander. The idea is very clear there. The argument that is concise and a fantastic, very personal illustration. Very good. Okay. Guadalupe, thank you very much for having joined us as well. We are practicing, by the way, right now the first task of the speaking section. So you're going to be practicing with us in this next round. So what is going to be the question for the next round? Let me see. Okay. Interesting. Let's see what you think about this one. It says, it is much better to purchase a new car instead of a used one. In your opinion, is this a good idea? Why or why not? Provide supporting details in your response. Okay, so let's see what you think about this one. I'm gonna be sharing your. Excuse me. I'm gonna be starting the chronometer. So please, dear students, start to prepare your responses now. Okay, thank you very much. So, dear Lucia, please, would you like to start with this round? Start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that it's not much better to purchase a new car instead of a new one, because of the following reasons. First of all, you can save a lot of money by buying a used one with almost the same characteristics. For example, my family has bought a used car, almost with all the characteristics that we wanted and we were looking for. So it's really useful and we save a lot of money. And second of all, also you can help the planet by buying a used car, because you won't help to create more pollution and more new ones.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Very good response here, Lucia. There you are. So please, dear Alexander, could you please be the second one? Start responding to the question now.
Okay, teacher, with regard with the topic, and I agree with that because I think it's better to change the car because over the year they go out of style and improve previous mistakes or errors, and it's much better to how can I say medio ambiente?
The environment.
Yes, it's much better to environment, and it's better to health of your family, of your of for you. I think that.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Alexander. Fantastic. Paulina, please could you continue with the responses round? Start delivering your response now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that because for the following reasons. The first reason is it allows to you a lot of benefits, because it's better to buy a new car, because you have to, if you buy a new car, you don't have to repair nothing that a used one. And also, for example, I had a bad experience buying a used car because I had to repair a lot of things, and I spent a lot of money, much money than I was thinking. And also another reason is I don't know. I don't know.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Don't worry. All right. Guadalupe, please could you finalize with this round? Start delivering your response for this question now.
With regard to the topic, buy a new car for me is a negative because a new car is very expensive. So you will need too much money, or maybe you will need to go to the bank to find that money. And in my case, my family never buy a new car because of this reason. And the second reason is because you need to pay more taxes with the new cars. So the new cars for me is it will be expensive for all it life or for all cars life.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Guadalupe. There you are. So let us start with some feedback, okay, for all of you. So for Lucia, I think the response in this case, dear Lucia, was tremendous, was very good response, very personal because you talked about your family getting a car that although it wasn't new, it had the same characteristics you were looking for, right? So incredible, dear Lucia. And also the second argument as well, right? The environment, fantastic, very good. Alexander, so in this case, dear Alexander, as well, it was a very good response. I think that of course you had some troubles in finding an illustration or with some words, but that happens. Don't worry. It's very good because we are just starting, and through, let's say, when we get into when we get used to this, we're going to respond more naturally. Okay, but very good response anyway. So for Paulina, yeah, I think that the argument was very interesting because you said that when you are acquiring a new house, a new automobile, excuse me, a new car, basically, you're not going to have the problem of finding out some reparations or some you're not going to have to repair the car, basically. Very, very good argument. And you also gave your particular illustration, right? Because you said, I have had some particular negative experiences with this type of cars because I actually spent a lot of money that I didn't think I would use repairing some damages or some, I don't know, some errors in the functioning of the car. Fantastic. Yeah, the second argument, of course, as I say, is a mattering of thinking about it, but nonetheless, it doesn't happen anytime, but it is fine anyways. Okay, very good. And Guadalupe as well, I think that especially the arguments you gave about new taxes, that when you buy a new car, you need to actually pay more taxes because it is something that has costs or has produced more let's say more responsibilities for the estate. It's very clever, fantastic. And you also talked about the money and how your family has always avoided buying this type of cars because of those transactions. Fantastic, very personal and specific as well. I think that all of you are improving, okay? Very good. So with a new one, okay, this is more personal. So let's see. It says, do you think that it is a good idea to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend? Very simple question. Let's see what you think. And very trivial one. Do you think that it is a good idea to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend before your marriage? Okay, I didn't read that part. Before marriage. Let's see what you think. Do you think that it is a good idea to live with your boyfriend, girlfriend before marriage? Okay, when you're not married. Let's see what you think. So please start preparing your responses now. There you are. So, dear Guadalupe, please could you start this round? Start delivering your response for this question now.
With regard to the topic, live with your boyfriend or girlfriend, for me is positive because I think that before the marriage, you need to know your partner. So in my case, in my family, my brothers always live before used to live before marriage with his girlfriends. So now I think this is the best option. And the second reason is, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Thank you very much, Guadalupe. All right, fantastic. Very good response. Okay, let's continue. So, dear Paulina, please could you follow up with this round? Start delivering your response now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that for the following reasons. The first reason is you can know how is your life living with your parents. For example, actually, I live with my friend, and also we share our money a lot of things, and it is easy because we have we feel comfortable. And another reason is you can mature faster because before to get married with your boyfriend or girlfriend, for example, I can think in a lot of things about the
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Paulina. Very good response. All right. Dear Lucia, please could you follow up? Start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe it's a good idea to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend before marriage because of the following reasons. First of all, you get to know each other better. For example, my aunt didn't marry before because of this reason. They found out with their partner that their perspective in a lot of things were different. And second of all, also a university study has proved that the chances of having a happy and fulfilling marriage goes up. And in this case, my parents used to live together before marriage, and until now, they're happily married.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Lucia. Okay. Alexander, you're going to finalize with this round. Okay. So please, dear Alexander, turn on your microphone and start delivering your response now.
Okay, teacher, with regard to the topic, I agree with that because you know you need to know the person who will marry, and if you live with that with she, you need to know many aspects such as if she work, if she cook, if she do exercise or any kind of things. And she has the same ideas or objectives in her life.
All right. Thank you very much. There you are. Fantastic, dear Alexander. Thank you. Okay, there you are. Fantastic. So let's see some recommendations I have for you. Okay. So the first recommendation would be for Guadalupe. I think that it was very good that you actually mentioned, right, your brother, when you talked about how it's necessary for people to know each other, and you talked about how your brothers have always lived with their girlfriends. Fantastic, very good response. Personal, specific, illustrates the argument you gave, right? Again, you didn't have time to mention the second argument with its illustration entirely, but nonetheless, as I said, let's continue practicing this. Try to measure yourself. Try to think about, okay, if I stop at this point, could I continue with the second argument, the second illustration? When you're responding, think about that. While you're responding, okay, if I stop here, if I'm gonna have time, try to look at the time. Okay, look at the time, 45 seconds, 35 seconds, 25 seconds, 15 seconds. Okay, are 15 seconds going to be sufficient for me to talk about my second argument and also my second illustration? Or if I stop here, maybe, or if I continue here, I'm not gonna have time. Think about it. Look at your clock as well, and maybe that is gonna help you to measure time more appropriately. A fantastic response as well. What about Paulina? So for example, here Paulina took a very interesting, or gave a very interesting, let's say, alternative to the response, because she talked about her friend, right? And actually that's theoretically legal, because when you think about the word girlfriend, like literally it means your friend that is a girl, right? So it's fantastic. It's fantastic actually when you think in that manner. But of course, maybe the question was trying to direct it to the romantic side, right? That is to say, your girlfriend or boyfriend in a romantic sense. But anyways, she talked about how, because she lived or she lives actually with her friends, she manages to experience a lot of fantastic things, and she can mature a little bit faster instead of staying, for example, at home with her parents or something like that. Very good illustration, and also very personal. Fantastic. Okay, very good. What about Lucia? So Lucia also here gave a fantastic response. She talked about, for example, her aunt, who was not able to, well, to have a happy ending, let's say, or a happy relationship after she lived with somebody who she later on discovered was not actually her type, right? Because she didn't have some connections, or she didn't have all those necessary requirements she wanted to find a man. Fantastic. And she also talked about, for example, her parents, right? And she also mentioned, for example, here something very interesting. She mentioned university study. Although, of course, she didn't say what university published that article or study or research. It was fine, because somehow that added some sort of authority to her argument. Maybe that is something or some sort of addition that you should think about when responding, and maybe add it to your response to say, well, I listened to Harvard's scientific team saying the following, and although maybe that is not true, let's say, well, maybe it could add some sort of authority to your response. Of course, it's not something that I have tested myself, so I don't recommend it as such, but I think it's something interesting, something that could be helpful, okay? And Alexander as well, he talked here about, okay, so Alexander here, for example, he talked about, in this case, an argument that was very good, very clever, saying, well, if you don't live with your partner, how is it possible for you to know her very well? If she cooks, if she does exercise, if she is organized, etc., etc. Fantastic. So now, of course, when he started to give the illustration for this argument, he started to mention those aspects that would not be possible to be known if you didn't live with her. Now, instead of doing this, maybe, dear Alexander, you could have done something like mentioning, right? Hypothetically, again, this is not necessary to be true, that when you lived with your girlfriend, you discovered that she actually didn't know how to cook, that she was super unorganized, that she was a mess, and therefore you broke up with her. As you can see, although of course maybe that is not true, you are adding a more personal information to the response, and that makes it more compelling. Okay, instead of mentioning as such the characteristics you could find in a girl if you live with her, talk about something that happened to you or to somebody who is nearby you. That makes it more personal. Okay, but fantastic response as well. There you are. Let's continue. This question is very funny. Do you think that this is a good idea? And it never gave you, or it never gave you the idea as such. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Let's go with this one. It says all children aged 3 to 8 years should be taught swimming lessons. In your opinion, is this a good idea? I repeat, all children aged 3 to 8 years old should be taught swimming lessons. In your opinion, is this a good idea? Why or why not? Let's see what you think. Please, dear students, start preparing your responses now. There you are. Okay, who's going to start this time? Paulina. So please, dear Paulina, start delivering your response now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that for the following reasons. The first reason is it helps to you for your physical development, because when you are practicing this sport in an early age, you can have you can be more bigger than other. And also another reason, it helps you for your memory practicing swimming, because you can get more concentrate in your studies. For example, when I was a child, I practiced swimming, and also it helped me a lot because
It's okay. Thank you very much, dear Paulina. There you are. All right, there you are. Guadalupe, please could you continue with this round? Let's start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that, because I think it's a good option to the children's can swim. It's a good sport for them, and it helps for their health. In my family, all of us always took swimming classes when we was kids, and the other reason is because it's a good sport for making friends, because you will know more friends that like the same things as you, and I think it will be a good relationship.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Guadalupe. Okay. All right. So let's continue with Alexander, please. Dear Alexander, respond to the question starting now.
Okay, teacher. With regard to the topic, with the child take the swimming lessons, I agree with that for the following reasons, such as child, the children being to the exercise at an early age, and the other reasons as the child isn't afraid of water as many children are. And finally, I think it's very healthy for the grow up of the child.
Okay. Thank you very much, dear Alexander. There you are. Okay. Please, dear Lucia, finalize this round with your response starting now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that children should be taught swimming lessons because of the following reasons. When you start learning an activity since an early age, you don't experience difficulty learning it. And for example, in my own experience, I used to swim when I was 7 years old, and I really learned easily. And second of all, it teaches children to have discipline. For example, my niece is really well organized and very responsible with her tasks and chores.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, dear Lucia. Okay, so let us start this feedback with Lucia's response. I think that certainly, Lucia, you are able to respond to this type of question very professionally. I like, for example, I like how you always respond to this in a very personal manner. In this case, you talked about two different arguments. The first one you mentioned was that it allows people to learn this activity in a very easy manner because they are practicing swimming, or, well, in this case, swimming, right? At a very, very young age. And you gave the example that when you were 7, right, you're being very specific, because when you were 7, right, not just when you were a child, but when you were 7, you learn how to swim, and therefore it was not difficult to you in the future, nor it was difficult for you to learn it at that time. Fantastic. And then you said also that it allows young men and women to be responsible and to get good habits. You talked about your cousin or your nephew, if I'm not wrong, and you said how she's responsible when compared to other young people of her age because of these swimming lessons. Fantastic. There you are. Very good response. Let's continue with Paulina. So Paulina as well here talked about physical development, and it was fantastic, right? how she talked about that and how people who practice this sport tend to become bigger than the average. And in this case, for example, it would have been fantastic if you have related that to your cousin. As I said, maybe something that I could recommend you generally to all of you is how can you make something personal? Well, as I told you, by relating it to a person, because that is exactly what personal means, right? When it is related to a person. So instead of saying it can allow people to become bigger than the average, you can say, my cousin who had the experience of swimming at a very early age grew up very much big or bigger than the rest of his classmates or something like that, right? As you can see, you are relating that information or that illustration to your cousin, and that is what makes it very personal, right? Fantastic. But very good response, dear Paulina. What about, in this case, continue? Oh, Guadalupe. So Guadalupe also talked about, for example, in this case, oh yes, that she gave a fantastic argument in this case that I loved. It was that in this discipline they can find friends that actually like to do the same, that are passionate for the same activities. And I think that's a fantastic argument. And here, for example, you have used yourself in order to exemplify, right? When I was a child and I was 8 years old, I met my best friends through my swimming lessons, right? So you can see, although it's made up, it sounds and it collaborates to your argument, right? Because it's illustrating such an argument that allows people to meet passionate individuals for the same activities they love, right? Fantastic. And finally, dear Alexander, as well, I think it was a very good response, because you said, right, when they learn how to swim at a very young age, they are introduced into sports also in a very early age, and they can develop that passion later on in their lives as adults or young people. Fantastic. So in this case, as I say, maybe what I would do is to relate it as well to a person, maybe to yourself. You could say, because my parents enrolled me into swimming lessons when I was 6 years old, I managed to fall in love with a lot of sports later in the future, as soccer, basketball, and volleyball, right? Something like that. But anyways, fantastic, very good response. Okay, there you are. Let's go with one more, okay, before we finish this class. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Let's see this one. People who throw trash from their cars onto the freeways should be fined at least $1,000. Do you think that this is a good idea? I repeat, people who throw in this case, not through, people who throw trash from their cars onto the freeways should be fined at least $1,000. Do you think that this is a good idea or not? What do you think? Okay, so please, dear students, start preparing your responses now. There you are. Okay. So who's going to start? Okay, dear Lucia, please could you start with this example? Start responding to the question now.
With regard to the topic, I believe that people who throw trash from their cars should be fined at least $1,000, and because of the following reasons. First of all, it can create awareness of the global warming and taking care of the environment. For example, in other countries in Europe, and it's fine with a lot of money, and culture in the environment, it's better. And second of all, people will have more discipline into their own lives.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Lucia. let's continue with Guadalupe. So please, dear Guadalupe, turn on your microphone and start please responding to the question. And now.
With regard to the topic, trash, oh, sorry, teacher.
Yes, of course. Could we start again? Yes,
Yes,
or
please.
yes?
Yes.
Yes, fantastic. Okay, very good. So please start responding to the question now.
With the topic, I agree because I think that the garbage it's a big problem for many countries today. So I believe that we need to take care of the environment. In my case, I always try to teach my little nephews and niece that the trash garbage it's a very bad idea for many reasons, and for the other reason, um, the pay this month it will be a way for people to become aware of the consequence that the trash, the garbage.
Mhm. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Guadalupe. Very good. There you are. Please, dear Paulina, continue with the round of responses now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that of the following reasons. The first reason, it is for it is better if they care the environment because it is important for the future families. And also, for example, in the last 2 days, my brother trashed the no throw the trash. No, I can I forget everything. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Thank you. Thank you, dear Paulina. It happens. Don't worry. Okay, there you are. And finally, Alexander, please, dear Alexander, finalize this round, starting your response now.
With regard to the topic, I agree with that for the following reasons. The people who throw garbage for the car aren't aware and continue to do it. For example, in the other cities of the world, if there is more control to the garbage and there are fines for it. And the other reason is to think about the planet and the healthy life on the population.
There you are. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Alexander. Okay, we have finalized then with this round that, as I told you, was to be the last one. But anyways, I wanted to congratulate you, okay? Dear students, I think that you have been able to see, right, how we started this week, not knowing anything about this section, and now how you understand the template, how organized your responses are becoming, how much natural your responses sound, and also how good arguments you're coming up with. So I want to congratulate you, okay, to all of you, and to encourage you to continue practicing this task during your free time. And in order to do so, I want to send to the WhatsApp group right now a gift for you. Apart from the website that I have already sent you, I want to share with you this. Where's it? Here it is. So this is a compilation, basically, of different websites and YouTube channels that I found for you to practice the speaking section in general. But nevertheless, as I say, it contains a lot of exercises for the first task. That is, of course, the one that we have been discussing during this week. Okay. So as I said, please feel free to download it, to get into this YouTube channels, websites, and to practice in your free time and to improve. Okay. Because as I say, the practice is basically here what is going to allow you to master this ability and the skill to speak in this 4 or 5 seconds that I know it's a super short time. Okay. But don't worry, it's possible. Trust me. Remember, I also had a lot of troubles with this part when I was preparing myself for exam, but nonetheless, through practice and always please practice with a computer, okay? Looking at the time on the screen, knowing how much time you have, measuring the time by your screen is going to help you a lot, okay? But fantastic. So let us stop the class here. All right, dear students, I'm going to take your assistance. Please don't go. And please help me with the traditional poll, okay, that we always feel. You know that you help me a lot, okay? So please help me with that. And I'm gonna take your assistance. So if you have any question, any commentary, please feel free to express it right now. Okay, count two. All right, here we are. So it's here present. Where are we? 1909. Here we are. Is here present Guzman Guadalupe?
Present.
Thank you very much. Guadalupe. There you are. What about Sonia Raquel? She wasn't here. Nathalie, not here. Okay. John Ariel. Grados Lucia.
Present.
Thank you very much, Lucia. Reyes Camila, well, she asked me for permission. She had some important studies for today's class. Paulina Jasmine.
Present.
Thank you very much, Paulina. And finally, Alexander Christopher.
Present, teacher.
There you are, Alexander. Thank you. Okay. So as I say, I'm gonna be seeing you one more time next week when we start with the second task of the speaking section. It's gonna be again a very interesting part to look at, and you're gonna notice the differences that exist between that task with this one. And I hope that you're gonna find it actually easier. Okay, but we're gonna see. Thank you very much and have a wonderful night. Okay, dear students. See you later.
Bye, teacher. Thank you. See you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye, teacher. Thank
Yeah,
you. Take
teacher.
care.
Bye bye. Thank you very much. See you later.